Kamala Harris said what? She said what?
And amen. And boom, shakalaka. Can you give the Lord some praise in here today?
Over the weekend, President Joe Biden decided to pardon many of Americans of African descent who have been put in jail for smoking pot. Really just all Americans, but there's a disproportionate number of Americans of African descent. How do we know that? Because Kamala Harris, when she was prosecutor out there in California, well, she put them there. She put over 1,500 people in jail for smoking marijuana, having possession of marijuana. As a matter of fact, it was a key moment in the Democrat primaries when Democrat Tulsi Gabbard took Kamala Harris out. She was supposed to be talking about Kamala Harris calling Joe Biden a racist because of his busing policies, but no. Gabby decided to turn the tables and go after Kamala Harris for prosecuting people for smoking pot.
You took issue with Senator Harris confronting Vice President Biden at the last debate. You called it a, quote, false accusation that Joe Biden is a racist. What's your response?
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting Black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Senator Harris, your response.
As the elected Attorney General of California, I did the work of significantly reforming the criminal justice system of a state of 40 million people, which became a national model for the work that needs to be done. And I am proud of that work. And I am proud of making a decision to not just give fancy speeches or be in a legislative body and give speeches on the floor, but actually doing the work of being in the position to use the power that I had to reform a system that is badly in need of reform. That is why we created initiatives that were about reentering former offenders and getting them counseling. It is why, and because I know that criminal justice system is so broken, that I am an advocate for what we need to do to not only decriminalize.
Ouch. You know what? That's such a classic takedown. It is absolutely I go back and I watch it just for fun every once in a while because it totally exposed Kamala Harris for the hypocrite that she is. And she got so upset. You could hear the emotion in her voice when she got around to responding, to Tulsi Gabbard's hit. It was absolutely flawless. The most epic takedown in debate history. But to the point, you had Kamala Harris on the Breakfast Club bragging about smoking a blunt when she was in college, listening to Tupac and Biggie Smalls. It must have been some very powerful marijuana because Tupac's and Biggie Smalls weren't even recording at the time. It was a few years later when they started to record. But Kamala Harris remembers smoking a blunt while listening to rap music, which made her comments yesterday so absolutely shocking. It's as if she forgot about the fact that she put away so many people for pot use. It's as if she forgot about the epic takedown from Tulsi Gabbard. It was bizarre, her cheering, her being excited about President Biden pardoning people who use marijuana.
And speaking of the system of justice, we are also changing, y'all might have heard that this week, the federal government's approach to marijuana. Because the bottom line there is nobody should have to go to jail for smoking weed.
You can't make this up. You truly can't make this up. This woman acts as if she is immune from her past actions. She acts as if nobody remembers this. I guess she has a right to do that because being a liberal means you're never going to be held responsible. You're never going to be held to account for the things that you've done, the things that you said. But she just sat there and said nobody should be arrested for smoking weed. Whereas she arrested people, over 1,000 people, for doing just that. Thousands of people have lost chunks of their lives because of Kamala Harris. Now, you might say, James T. Harris, she was doing her job. I mean, as prosecutor, she can't cherry pick laws. Yeah, I guess you can't. But that's only if you are a Republican. If you're a Democrat prosecutor, you can do whatever you want. We got Democrat prosecutors and Democrat city attorneys that are ignoring the law every single day. So I don't want to hear that. She's being held to a double standard, which works for her because if it worked for double standards, the left would have no standards at all. Bottom line, I think in order to safely bring Brittany Griner back from Russia, the Democrats had to get rid of the rules, get rid of the laws that incarcerated people for the same thing Brittany Griner got incarcerated for in Russia. It's also very strange. Once again, Russia's values, they're holding firm. We're changing our values. We're dumbing it down in order to make the criminal element more comfortable. And the criminal element is the Democrat Party that's changing the rules, that's dumbing everything down in order for them to be accepted, in order for them to be able to buy votes. Will it work? I don't think so. I think that the people who spend time in jail, if they ever get out, they're going to be very, very salty about it. They're not going to be gracious. They're not going to be, in gratitude to Kamala Harris and to Joe Biden, who are reversing themselves on their tough crime policies, especially Biden from the 90s. You remember the things that Joe Biden said about crack? How if you had just like an ounce of it, you're going to go to jail forever? Now we see the Democrats are doing a complete, utter reversal. And it's shameful, but it's what they have to do to garner votes. My name is James C. Harris. This is my station. Go ahead and hit that notification bell. Every time we put up a new video, you will be notified. And make sure you check out my merch store at jamestharris.com. See you soon.